Welcome to Garden Club with Wadsworth Public Library. My name is Heather. It's planting time for the garden. We are getting our garden planted in the courtyard at the library. We're planting some flowers and vegetables like tomatoes this year. And I hope that you will have the chance to stop by and take a look at what we're growing and watch the plants as they grow and enjoy spending some time in our courtyard garden here. I brought some plants with me today to show you some things that you can grow in pots. If you don't have room where you live to put a garden in the ground, you can grow some things in pots. This flower here is called a pansy, and these flowers grow well in small pots, or if you want to put them in a larger planter, like this one here, you can do that. And you can place many different flowers there and grow them. And then I brought an herb with me today. This herb is called chives. And it will also grow well in a pot, or you can grow it in the ground and it will come back year after year. And the other plant I brought today is a tomato plant. So you can see that the tomato plant is an example of a plant that needs a little bit larger pot. This tomato plant is actually a small plant. It will grow tomatoes that look kind of like clusters of grapes, so they're rather small. If you'd like to grow a full-size tomato plant where the tomatoes will grow larger, about the size of your palm or your hand, you'll need a much bigger pot than this so the plant has enough room to grow. This planter, you could also grow other vegetables in, like lettuce or spinach or kale, something like that, to make a salad. And you have enough room here to grow enough that it would make 1 to 2 servings of your greens for salad for you or your family. And you can grow these different flowers, herbs, and vegetables in pots or planters, either inside where you live, in a sunny location by the window and just keep them watered when the soil gets dry, or you can set these pots outside your house somewhere and grow your flowers, vegetables, and herbs outside in these pots and planters. I'd like to share a story with you today about a boy named Jayden who learns that you can have a garden anywhere you live, even in the middle of the city. It's called Jayden's Impossible Garden by Melina, Mangal, illustrated by Daley, published by Free Spirit Publishing. Jayden loved nature. At school, he played outside during recess. On field trips, he pretended to be a scientist, collecting acorns, stones, and twigs. In Jayden's favorite books, kids played in tree houses or climbed rocks. A wheelchair van lowered Mr. Curtis onto the sidewalk in front of Jayden's building. Each afternoon, he would inch forward and stop, then look around from the sky to the ground. He'd close his eyes to breathe in the cold, fresh air before wheeling in. Jayden wondered if Mr. Curtis wanted to be outside as much as he did. Each day, Jayden walked home very slowly, so he would arrive just as the wheelchair van pulled up. He opened the building door wide and waited as Mr. Curtis wheeled inside. "Thank you, Jayden," said Mr. Curtis. Mr. Curtis was outside one day as Jayden walked up. "What are you looking at?" Jayden asked. "The crocus," Mr. Curtis said. there? Jayden asked with awe. Magic, Mr. Curtis winked. Spring is here. Jayden smiled, waiting to stay. Then his shoulders slumped. I have to go inside. Mom says there's nothing to do out here. My daughter says just that, too, Mr. Curtis nodded. But I just want to be out all day. Can I go outside with Mr. Curtis? Jayden asked Mama. He loves nature, too. What a kind idea, Mama said. But Jayden, there's no nature here in the middle of the city. From then on, Jayden and Mr. Curtis met every day after school. Mr. Curtis told stories of his childhood adventures in Mississippi. Jayden shared facts he'd found in animal books. They compared nature collections. They searched for animals. They built flowers from old boxes into towers and sticks and stones. This is our secret fort, Jayden said. They planted mystery seeds in old containers. This is our magical garden, Mr. Curtis said. One day, Jayden tried to share the secret. Mama, here's the magical secret fort garden I made with Mr. Curtis. These old buckets and boxes? Mama shook her head. Jayden, honey, I'm glad you and Mr. Curtis are enjoying time together, but there's no nature here in the middle of the city. So Jayden and Mr. Curtis made a plan. My daughter didn't understand why I wanted her to bring me her empty coffee cans. Rather than recycling them, Mr. Curtis chuckled. Jayden helped Mr. Curtis decorate the coffee containers. They planted zinnias, marigolds, and nasturtium seeds inside them. Mama said, I shouldn't keep trash, Jayden said, smiling. So I told her I was recycling this milk jug. Mr. Curtis helped Jayden cut holes in the middle of the jug and attach string to the top. They filled it with scarlet runner bean seeds. Together, they discovered something new each afternoon that summer. While watering the garden, they plucked a caterpillar and put it in a jar. It became the guardian of the fort. After watching a spider weave its web, Jayden stretched an old basketball net across the top of his tower and knotted the bottom. It became a tiny hammock. Jayden was almost ready for the last part of his plan, showing Mama the magical secret fort garden. But would she see the garden the way he and Mr. Curtis did? Was there enough nature to show her? One hot summer evening, the secret got out. Did you see those butterflies? Asked Shanice from down the hall. Listen to that cooing, said Mr. Williams from upstairs, pointing to a mourning dove nesting in the royal hammock. Look! Everyone rushed to the rope bridge. Mama hurried down the stairs toward the small crowd. What's wrong, Jayden? Listen, Mama, Jayden whispered, taking her hand. A hummingbird, Jayden said, pointing. Mr. Curtis nodded. Neighbors smiled. Everyone soaked in the beauty that surrounded them. It's our magical secret fort garden, Jayden beamed. This time, Mama saw what Jayden saw. The magic of nature was all around them, right there in the middle of the city. That's a wonderful story about how you could create a garden almost anywhere, no matter where you live. And you can add other things to it as well. Maybe you could create a wind garden along with your flowers and herbs and plants. I have a simple craft to share with you today to make a windsock. You'll take a large piece of tissue paper, open it up all the way. You're going to take the short edges and fold them together in half, like that. You'll take 2 pipe cleaners, take the ends and twist them together, and open it up to make one long pipe cleaner, like that. And then once you have your long pipe cleaner, and open it up, you'll take one of the short ends of the tissue paper, place the pipe cleaner on it, and you're going to roll the tissue paper around the pipe cleaner. And you'll need a little bit of tape to tape it in place. Just like that. So it's tucked inside the end of the tissue paper there. Okay, now we're going to fold the tissue paper in half again and bring the ends of the pipe cleaners together like this and twist those ends together. Now you'll need a little bit more tape here to tape these 2 ends together. It will help if you overlap them just a little bit. And then you can open up the tissue paper and kind of shape the pipe cleaners a little bit so it forms a circle there. There you go. And now you have your tissue paper windsock. And it should float in the air a little bit. If you want to, you could tie a string to the pipe cleaners and hang it somewhere so it can float in the wind. Or another idea is, if you have a stick or a dowel rod, you can attach that and twist the pipe cleaner around the dowel rod. And you might need some tape to keep it there on the end so it doesn't come off. And then, as you run, you can hold it behind you over your head and the wind will blow it out. And you can see it flutter and fly in the wind that way as well. You can register at the library to pick up an activity pack to make the windsock. And I hope that you will have a chance to create your own garden, maybe in some pots or in the ground at your home, or maybe even in a community garden in the Wadsworth Bird Park. Happy gardening, and I will see you again soon for the next Garden Club program. Bye.